Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Inspiration from Spirit show with your host, Reverend Lea Chapin. The focus and goal for this show is to assist humanity in the awakening of a new level of consciousness that will bring peace to planet Earth.
Welcome. I am Lea Chapin. I am the host of Inspiration from Spirit. I'm delighted to be back with you again. It's January 18th, 2021. We got a new year. We got a lot happening. We have my special guest again, Reverend Sharone Elizabeth James from the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light from Sarasota, Florida, is here with us today. She is a native of New York. She underwent 4 years of intense metaphysical and spiritual training in philosophy, New Thought, spiritualism, and ancient and contemporary religious beliefs at the Spiritual Science Center of New York. She became ordained in June of 1989. When she moved to Florida, and she's made that her permanent home now. She lectures on the new paradigms of the 21st century and is a featured guest on various TV and radio shows. Starting in July of 2007, she was telepathically impressed by celestial beings of light to start and facilitate the Anchoring Light meditation, which has been held every Monday night without fail to the present date to assist in our planetary ascension. She is also the founder of Anchoring Light Sacred Journeys, which provides sacred journeys which have clear mission and purpose to sacred locations around the planet. We are delighted to have her back today. We want to talk about a lot of information, but before we segue into that, as many of you know, I bring forth the Mary Magdalene teachings every Monday morning, and today it was quite interesting because Spirit has told us, Mary Magdalene has told us that we are moving into unity consciousness. Yet today we received a special dispensation and a healing and a clearing so that we can begin to move forward into our I am presence even stronger, as we are no longer living in fear and separation from our true sacred self. So this is what I wanted to share with Sharone Elizabeth. And then as always, it's always synchronistic that on my Mary Magdalene messages, they just bring this information in of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm so excited to have you and hear your perspective on all this. So welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much, Reverend Lea. And wow, divine synchronicity. That's how you know you're tapped in. You know, where nothing is planned, but it's all perfectly orchestrated on higher levels. Well, I'm very happy to be here to share. How there's so much fear on the planet, and most certainly, I would say that has been a tool that has been used, by certain powers that be, to control and to manipulate, a personal agenda. And most certainly, let's start off with that, a level of fear of that mechanism we have in our body is important, because if something is happening, you need to protect yourself. That's a signal for you to move, or whatever the case may be. But when it's manipulated, okay, then that's a different story, because it's not really working as a survival dynamic. It's more of a, I would say, manipulative dynamic in terms of how to move masses of people or situations. And that state of fear is an energetic, as we both know, that we are in, and we have to remember that we are interdimensional beings. And that we not only are limited to this physical density of the physical, mental, and emotional worlds, but the fact that we are interdimensional means we hold the similitude of the divine, number one. Okay. And so that allows us to be able, with practice, just like how you work a physical muscle, for exercise, your spiritual discipline. Okay. So all of us are able to tap into the higher parts of ourselves that is more expanded. So we, in these little, physical body suits, have a light spectrum of maybe like this. We just see with the five senses, or taste and hear and feel and touch. Okay. But we're more than that. We're way more than that. And so the goal is to bring known the unknown, to do those spiritual disciplines, or those things that will help you to expand who you truly are, even as you walk this physical work. And so one of the things that we're able to do is tap into what is known as the Shalometh Shalom. And this is a very easy tool that everybody can use. It's practical. You can use it. You can walk into the world without fear. And what the Shalometh Shalom is what is known as a word of power. It's a chant. So there are 5 sacred languages on this planet, meaning that the language did not originate from this world. It came from the upper worlds to the planet. And there's 5 of them. And Hebrew is one. And for the Western mind, Hebrew is a little bit easier maybe to pronounce. And that's Shalometh Shalom is in Hebrew. The other 4, by the way, is Egyptian, Chinese, Tibetan, and Sanskrit. So those are the 5 sacred languages. So any one of them helps to tap into the higher interdimensional levels or the higher parts of yourself that's way more expanded and can bring in high level frequencies from the upper or divine worlds. So these are aspects of God. So peace is an aspect of God. But this is not just a peace that you and I say, oh, let's be peaceful, which we can do that and we want to promote that. This is a higher peace coming from the higher dimensional worlds of light, known as the Shalometh Shalom. Shalometh Shalom. That is the peace that surpasses all human understanding. And they speak of that in the scripture. I wish you the peace that surpasses all human understanding, meaning not coming from the human level, coming from the higher levels of light. And so one of the practices, if you find, there's 2 things that I always recommend for people who may find themselves in the grip of fear, because fear can paralyze you. You cannot move because of fear. There are people who don't even go outside of their house because of fear. Okay, so it's a very crippling dynamic. It brings down the immune system, just a list of things why you do not have to be in that level of fear. And let me say, dear brothers and sisters, that, out there into the world, they are promoting and pumping this fear. Okay. And
why do you think that is? Why do you think this is happening at this time?
Well, it's not unique to this time only. It has happened in the past, but it is a controlling mechanism. One of the things that, for example, let's just take the religiosity, the dogma, and there are many other things are in place to say, you must stay within these guidelines because we get to, control the masses. We get to control the masses. And so if, for example, you make a sin and they say, well, you go to hell forever, that's a very good controlling mechanism. That is a controlling mechanism. But at some point, if you're on this show, you're not into that dogmatic religiosity. Here are the rules and regulations. You're more into the spiritual dynamic of that, where you are self-empowered now. And you get your directions directly, as the Gnostics said. You don't have to go through another person or priest or a pope or a politician or whatever it is. You can go direct. And so I would say to you, Reverend Lea, that is a different dynamic. The Gnostics spoke of going directly where you did not need an intermediary. And when you go directly, your frequency changes. You begin to integrate the higher frequencies of light. It takes time, because I would say that most certainly there is a frequency that keeps us within, say, the gravitational pull of the planet. Okay, that's where we are in our little bubble. But beyond that is a much higher bubble that has more of the divine sacred qualities that are transcendental to humanity's condition. So to answer your question, fear has been a manipulative tool on the planet for a very long time. And I would say that most certainly, as I said in the beginning, it has its place just for us in our own human evolution. But when it gets manipulated, and I was told that directly by the higher realms, that it can be used for, say, service to self. There's the service to others, and there's the service to self. And it goes into a whole long cosmic history. But let's just say that the service to self wants to keep a control mechanism on humanity, on the surface humanity, because it has its own agenda that may not be as benevolent, or free. And there's a whole long, the Gnostic Gospels speak of it, and many different areas of the world speak of this. But bringing it back to the present right now, is saying, okay, each time we have a chance or an opportunity to say, I'm going to get out of this pattern of fear that I find myself in. What can I do? How can I start? Well, number one, the breath.
Mm-hmm.
Physical dynamic that you can do. When you feel fear coming in, what's happening is the flight, or what is it? The flight or fight mechanism, which is the survival mechanism, coming from the adrenals, okay, pumping that adrenaline into your body. What you will find is that your heart starts racing. You tend not to breathe. Okay. And so that's already happening. Now, doing that every day is not good for the physical, mental, emotional body. Okay. So what do? This is a simple step. You stop. You take a deep breath. And I mean, I take it to the point where people can hear me. I go, and I go, Husa. I actually do a name. I say, Husa, just to kind of bring me back quickly. And then you do these deep breaths. And the first thing it's going to do, Lee, it's going to stop the adrenaline from pumping into the physical body. That's number one. Okay. Then number two, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to, an easy way, meditation, of course, helps you to stay centered, whatever spiritual practice you do. It's like taking a vitamin every day. It's going to enhance your life on some level. So meditation or prayer, whichever way you do it, staying connected with the higher realms of light, the Christ consciousness, the divine Maitreya, okay, integrating that into your life. That makes a huge difference. That's why you hear of the saints and the masters, they're like, walk to their death and like they're good, okay, God bless you, everybody, they're not like screaming, oh my goodness, they have that shalom. They have that peace that surpasses all human understanding. Other humans can't even figure like, wow, what's with this guy? They're so brave. Well, maybe bravery has something to do with it, but mostly it's the shalom, that special peace that comes from the higher realms of light. And now that is a practical tool that everybody can do. It's not difficult. So a lot of people sing it, or you can chant it. So just like, there's a reason why people chant, whether you use rosary beads or mala beads, it's the repetition, it's bringing that frequency in, it's aligning you with that frequency. So like if somebody likes to sing shalom, 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 shalom. It doesn't matter what tune you put it to. The idea is to say it, or you could just say shalom, 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 shalom. Okay, and as you do this as a regular practice, you're opening up portals of light that come into your electromagnetic field. Okay, that's going to bring that grace. It's going to bring that grace into your life. I've been practicing this for a long time, Lee, because from very young, actually in the 4th grade, I had a badge that said fearless leader. And I laugh now, but early on, for whatever reason, I had to get over fear. It was like, you got to get over the fear for like young, like right away. And so it isn't something that just happened. I worked on it. I can vouch to say I have no fear. I know that everything is going to be okay. That is my expectation, but I have worked on it. I've prayed on it. I've used the shalom. I have used the breath to bring it to where I am. And then when you do that, you're divinely guided. You know what to do. How can you get the message if you're in fear and you're off balance? So when you are centered, this is when the higher divine guidance comes in and guides you. And when that happens, there's no need to have fear of any kind because you are divinely guided and protected.
And I want to mention two things. First of all, what I like to do is I like to place my hand over my heart, and I like to call in the energy of I am that I am. I am that I am. When I do that, I really feel connected. I really feel the power when I say that. I can really feel it in my heart. That brings me back to center and back to balance. And also, what I wanted to say was, do you think that this? I know the fear has always been with us from the time of separation, but do you think it's becoming more the controlling factors is because more people are waking up? That the planet is ascending and more people are waking up, and there's, like, we're talking about this on a podcast and it's being shared, and that more and more people are awakening. You've been involved with metaphysics for many years. I've been involved with it for since 1984, I guess. And I can see the shift and change in the last 20 or 25, 30 years, however long it's been. More and more people are awakening to this. Do you think that's a part of why we're moving into this frequency of trying to control people more so that they're not connected?
Absolutely. There is, and I don't like to use the word that often, but in this case, I will say there is a spiritual war going on, absolutely, on higher levels, of which we are a part of. All right, so this is just not on our level. It is, the all ancient scripture, has spoken about a separation, sort of like a dueling, and we are in a polarity, dual polarity creation. And speakers, there are many words for it, but for the lack of a word, let's just say the fall. Somehow we got disconnected. So there is this Jesus the Christ, other avatars of great light have come to say, hey guys, this is not it. There's more. There's a lot more. And you actually hold the divine similitude within you, and you can pierce through this illusion, okay, to get to where you want to be, where your soul is pulling you towards. The service to self is the powers that be on higher levels. You could call them the fallen angels, or there's lots of different names for them, whatever you want to call them. And just figure that if we're international, if we're interdimensional beings, there's other things going beyond our visual spectrum. And so the service itself is like, we're in charge and we like this. We don't want things to change. Okay? There's an agenda to say, keep humans in chaos, keep them in war, keep that suffering going, because it in some way serves this service to self. They're in charge. And I'm like, God, we got this. We don't need you. We're here on top of our little mountain. And so the higher realms of light is just saying, and the story of this is in the Pistis Sophia, by the way. So if you want to know about, the deeper esoteric story, I would recommend the Pistis Sophia, which is a Gnostic gospel. And it talks in more abstract terms, but it's the same concept, is that now, as Jesus the Christ came, or the avatars of light to set the cycles of time, whatever that would be, will come to the point, okay, where we, humanity, would have to break free, that our consciousness will begin to happen. So there is a doubling down right now. There is a back and forth going like this. And the one thing I'd like to say to your listeners, Reverend Lee, is right now, I had an experience, now it's 11 years ago, from the Divine Mother, Mother Mary. And she said very clearly that she needs someone to hold the polarities in balance. Those were her words. I need someone to hold, because she spoke of a time of extreme polarities, which is what we're in right now, extreme. And she said, somebody's going to have to hold that middle. And was a call the light workers. And how this happened, how you do it, she said, non-judgment, doesn't matter, non-judgment, unconditional love. That's how we're going to meander through all of this. And if you could hold the non-judgment, unconditional love, hold the middle, not get caught up in the drama.
As an attached observer, I think you like to say.
Exactly.
Or detached.
A detached observer, you're just looking that way, you're centered, you get all the information from one end to the other and all in between. You then have the higher level of perspective, the divine guidance, and know what to do. You know what to do. Okay. And not fall into the fear. Okay. So it's almost like in a dream, where you could be the observer of the dream, looking at yourself as well as the participant. In here, they're saying be the observer, because we need observers to be able to hold the peace and help others to hold the peace. So the more that can do it, the more we can stabilize, that situation. So what I have been doing for a number of years, 11 years now, ever since the Divine Mother showed up and said that, and I have shared this, is that I don't get involved in dialogue, say on the computer, otherwise, like, for example, male, female, smoker, non-smoker, Republican, discipline. I don't get involved in none of that because it's geared to cause the duality swing, which brings chaos and destabilization. And that's what's happening right now. There's a great effort to destabilize, have these polarity swings, and we need your light workers, we need all light workers, all star seeds to say, I'm not falling into the trap. Okay. And I am going to practice the shalometh shalom. If I find myself in fear, I'm going to practice that. I'm going to practice my breath. And we're being called by the higher realms of light to please do this. Boots on the ground. Please do this. And when you do, you got to remember who you are. A lot of times, of course, we've all been attacked on some level, and a psychic attack. I'm like, excuse me, do you know who my crew is? Do you know the part of who I'm with? And if you really know who you are, you become fearless because you have the family of light, the Amin Shaddai, with you. But
I know I've had many people when I was going to say, I had many people who've asked me through the years. I've been channeling now for almost 28 years, the Ascended Masters and the higher realms, like yourself. And they'll ask me, they come from a fear base of, they worry that I'm bringing something negative in from a negative source. And I'm like, no, I don't have that fear. I never had that fear. Right, I was always blessed with, when it started happening, I was in amazement and wonderment, but I wasn't ever fearful that I was receiving inaccurate information. I just remember one time in the 28 years, one of my spirit guides had told me that they had to stop the session because there was hoodlums around. And so I'm able to tap into the frequencies like you, and I feel the energy of the masters. And so, like what you're saying, when we're tapped in, then we don't have to live in that place of fear because we have that confidence, we have that knowing. It's like with me, I tell people, I'm seeing you, but also if we weren't doing this on video, I would recognize your voice because I know that's you.
Right, exactly.
I'm tapping into Archangel Michael or Mother Mary because I know their vibration. I feel their energy. And so as we become, like you said, more pure and connected, then that fear dissipates. And then we can hold that space of love for others to be in what we call, as we know, as the temple there at the Cosmic Center, where you've anchored in that we both have worked on the divine union energy.
Absolutely, we did.
This energy is so important for us to return to sacred balance. I published this book again, and it's been almost 4 years ago.
Right, exactly. Yes.
And you had the guidance, I think, at the same time about how important it is to anchor in the divine union. Do you want to just share that?
And that's helping in the balance. And that's what we need to be focused on. And just moving forward on what you just said, there are many of us, and of course, I know from little, I'm sure for you, there has been attempts to move us away from the light. I know from little, because, I had experience at 2.5 years old. And so I was trying to figure, this whole thing out. And then I was able to tell early on those energies that were lower, versus the energies that were high and celestial. And anytime that you are, and this is where you need to be in your power, anytime you feel something coming, like thoughts or feelings that are lower or fear-based, or like, where did that come from? You have it in you as a powerful spiritual being of light saying, be gone.
You did that when you became sick. I remember you were talking about that as well. You want to share that?
Yes. So I got sick, which that has not been my world ever, really. After my mother passed, that was in 2017. And I guess, in the last days of her life, it was very stressful, but it was all very interesting because my mom and I had this connection. It was a dream regarding all of this stuff. Anyway, long story very short, after her death, and everything was beautiful. She was aware, I was aware. We said our goodbyes. We loved each other. It couldn't be any perfect. Did special blessings. So it wasn't like I had any unresolved issues. It was just that, of course, I would miss her. But after I rested up, I was ready to go. And then I just remember that my body, was in such severe pain and stiffness. And so, I mean, I ended up going to the doctor, which I rarely do, but I ended up going, and they had said something to the effect, polymyalgia, rheumatoid, whatever the name is, but my body was extremely inflamed, and that, here's some prednisone and help you manage the pain. So I was in shock, but I will say this, and I've always thanked this doctor. I said, well, what causes it? I know what the cause is. I could do something about it. He said, we don't know. God bless her for being honest. She said, we don't know. And I said, I want to know. And I will tell you, brothers and sisters, that I actually prayed very specifically in saying, because I had two choices. I could see one path going one way, which I would, have an experience in probably a shorter passing, or the other way, being able, which I want to do to complete my mission, make sure everything done and have a way. And I said that that's the choice. And I made a choice of devoting, to God, which is what my life is. And what happened is that divine intervention, came in. It tapped me into something called the axonal line. So you may want to call it the vice grid, but it's being able to tap into that higher level. It gave me a little relief to where I was not so much in pain, where I could stay focused and centered. That's the key. You got to stay centered to receive the guidance. And a guidance came in very specifically for me to read a book, which I had no idea what this book was, but it was called Medical Medium. And so that was the tool for me to identify what was going on with me, and also the healing that it brought. And see, healing comes on many different levels. It's not just one, it's several, because you always have to remember we are interdimensional beings. So we have a responsibility to the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the ethereal body, and many other subtle bodies of which we are a part of, and bringing that in. So yes, I want to say there's a lot. Number one, a lot of people are not feeling well. That can trigger fear when you're like, oh my God, I don't feel well. Am I going to be able to make it? Then you have this pandemic. Okay, that's another layer. Okay, and then you have what's going on politically, in this country and around the world. And so it's like, as you said, it's like a double layer of stuff. Okay. We have to be very proactive in taking care of ourselves, because, as they say, follow the money. Unfortunately, this world is corrupted. I think we can all agree on that. There's some beautiful things about the planet, but it's some of the humanity that are supposed to be the guardians to this planet who've forgotten that the corruptibility has seeped in. And so that's why it's important for us as light workers to find what it is to maintain our balance. That is crucial. Is that I remember my spiritual guides, the masters, They said to me, you do whatever you need to do to stay in balance. Because if you're off balance, you're not going to receive the higher guidance. You're too distracted. So if you need, sometimes, as busy as we are, Lee, I'll go into the cave. I'll disappear for 2 weeks. Like, where is she? I'm in the cave. Turn off the phone, everything. I'm just not there. I'm gone because I need to do whatever is necessary for me to stay balanced. And so
how did you heal? How did you heal yourself? Because I think you said you thought you might have had Epstein-Barr. Is that what it was?
Oh yes, so actually, what it was, again, no human told me this. My wonderful doctor was very nice. I like her, and she's a great scientist. Okay, but she didn't know what the problem was, and she said we don't know what calls autoimmune. That's what the diagnosis. And so I said I wanted to know, and so Spirit is the one that told me about the book, not the human, the Spirit. That through divine synchronicity, this book came into my life, and I knew it was from Spirit. Read the book inside and out, come to discover that part of one of the problems my mother was having towards the end of her life, where there was a bit of suffering involved, was that she had the Epstein-Barr, and that's what I have. That's what my son has. That's what 98% of the population has. It's this Epstein-Barr. It's known as mononucleosis. Remember the kissing disease? Well, that has not gone away as contemporary medical communities think. It has morphed into something else. And
I think possibly because people are stressed out and the adrenals are overloaded.
Now that's what happened, is that it's always been there, but your immune system, your wonderful immune system, we have so much stuff, pathogens. The time we're born, those pathogens start attacking, which tells you about our world. That is what is known as the entropy. It's that thing that wants to bring you down. But we have to be strong enough to do the centropy, to bring ourselves up. So there's this tension that's going on. And to answer your question, with the Epstein-Barr, that is the root of many autoimmune diseases. And the name of the book that I read that was a key component that changed the trajectory of how I was going in terms of my health is The Medical Medium book by Anthony William. And if you look him up now, millions of people are now following him. I didn't know about him, to assist my mother. But that's the whole thing. I think my mother went through that for me to tap into a higher level of my own spiritual growth. She played that role. But
you commanded the virus to leave, I think you told me.
Was that?
I think you told me you commanded the virus to leave.
Yes. Oh, yes. Once I knew what it was, it's like you have an enemy, you don't know about the enemy, you can't do anything about it. And so when I realized and said, oh my gosh, this is Epstein-Barr. And by the way, I went to the doctor, I asked her, I said, would you please test me for Epstein-Barr? And she did. And yes, 100% I have it. Right. So I said, oh no, you can't stay. Do you know who I am? And when I identified it, and it is a consciousness, it wants to live. And I said, you cannot, take my life, because it was going to cripple me. And it's just take me out. And I've had experience with the swine flu in the past. And so I know these pathogens, I've come to know them. And I talked to actually both of them, but with the Epstein-Barr, I said, no. I said, you must go. And I said it with great command, because what does it represent? Is it something uplifting? No, it's on the higher levels. If you talk about the law of correspondence, in the cosmic laws, on higher levels, it represents the entropy. It represents those things that want to bring you down, not lift you up. So I'm like, no, you must go. You must go. And at the very minimum, is it completely out of my body? I don't know. But what I do know is that it is definitely has gone, hidden, shrunking, and I will continue doing my disciplines so that it could get out of my body at some point completely. But
and for those who are afraid of the coronavirus, they too have that same power.
Correct.
As you did.
Yes.
And I remember this doesn't have to do with the virus, but I was told a long time ago, before I know a lot more now than I did then, but that I had the power to command weather. I thought, isn't that strange? I'm like, oh, okay. So there was a 100-mile-an-hour straight line winds in my area in Illinois. And in that moment where I felt the winds coming to my house, I just said, stop. And when I said stop, the winds literally stopped.
Yep.
It was like amazing. Because I remember that I was told that Mother Earth said, if you really feel like you're in danger, call upon me. And,
yeah, especially if you have that connection to her, especially if you're honoring her,
yes,
especially if you're helping her, okay, especially if you come from the higher heart of compassion and unconditional love. That is your spiritual armor, is the higher heart of compassion and unconditional love.
So it blew my mind that day that I literally heard it stop. The wind stopped at my house and didn't go further into up the street.
I remember you telling me that.
I did have some damage to the house, but it was because I had stopped, and so it was all fine. But I want to say that's the same thing that you had commanded. The same thing that we have that power to command for those who are in fear of anything, of the coronavirus, or their fear of all this polarity that's happening within the world. With our government and just division at large, that we do have that power to command.
We do.
And so before our time runs any short, I want to make that point, but also I wanted you to bring a meditation in if you could.
Yes.
And before I forget, I also wanted to say that in my book, Divine Union, Joshua had brought what is called the 12 Tools of Enlightenment. And I'm going to be teaching those this Tuesday. They are portals. They're working with the breath, like you talked about before. There's 12 of them. They're not the chakras, but they're portals of entry in our etheric body that we're able to tap in, and helping us to move through into these higher dimensional frequencies and live from our sacred self.
Right.
So that's in the back of my book. I'm going to be teaching that on Tuesday. And so this is another tool. We're talking about tools to help ourselves move out of fear. This is a tool that I'm going to be teaching on Tuesday night. So if people are interested in this, they can certainly contact me through my website, LeaChapin.com, or my email, LeaChapin@gmail.com. But I really would like for you to bring a short meditation. We have about 20 minutes left. And so, maybe 10 minutes or however long you feel, if you don't mind, from the higher realms regarding this topic.
It's my pleasure. And I just want to take this moment to say thank you, Reverend Lee, for, offering and doing the role that you do, to assist so many and to help into our collective ascension. So I just wanted to honor you in the work that you do.
Thank you. Yeah, we're sisters of the light. We're doing it together.
Yes, we are. We have lots in common.
We do have a lot.
Weather and everything. Exactly.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I'm so honored to know you. That's why it was important for you to come today. I really wanted you to share your message. So
I want us to bring in the Shalom with Shalom right now to everybody who is listening to this and everybody who will listen to this. And it's simply by the intention, to do so, and to know that everybody here that's listening cares about the earth, cares about other people. You hold loving kindness in your heart, and that is why you're concerned and you're fearful, because you see that how things should be is not how they are. But I want to say, when we do this meditation, that bringing in the Shalom of Shalom will bring you into your divine power. And that you can be the master of your life and not be manipulated through fear. So with that, I'll ask everybody now, with the intention that even the concerns of the day, or whatever may be going on at the moment, or what has happened, or what's going to be, at this time, we will just allow ourselves to put all of that to rest. It'll be there afterwards, but for now, We're clearing all thoughts out of our mind, all concerns out of our mind, all things that we feel that we have to do or will do or the time, just for these few moments now, we will simply release them into the light, because the very intention of us being here, for us to be discussing these things that we are, that is for bringing in the light and the unconditional love and the peace. The angelics are already here. They have heard our call. The ascended realms are now anchoring in this eternal now. It does not take much to do except to yearn, to strive, to try, and to hold love in your heart, to want peace in your heart, to want balance in your heart. And so a divine interweaving of the higher thought forms of the ascended realms already are embodying our sacred space. Wherever you are, we are now attached through the heart and through the mind and through our intention to serve and to be the best that we can be in the name of the divine. And right now, each and every holy, sacred in-breath and out-breath now breathes in this rarefied, energetic within the breath, because the energy has increased, the illumination has brightened, and the radiance is anchored. And you will feel right now in this moment, sense and know the shifting of the energy that has taken place. And as you breathe each and every holy, sacred in-breath and out-breath, in the remembering that we breathe the divine, we breathe the breath of Brahma. And as we do, this breath of life is what connects us to all worlds, to all creation, and to divine sacred source. And as we can sense, feel, and know the energy that continues to anchor within our own electromagnetic field, not only building where we find ourselves, but the hearts and minds that are connected in this experience hold this holy sacred space, as does the great radiant ones who are here and present. And with grateful hearts and with illumined understanding of our connection to the greater part of ourselves and the Ami Shaddai, our family of light. Right here, right now, we are so divinely guided and protected. We are blessed as we sense and feel a divine and sacred grace pouring in, coming in through our crown chakra, flowing in from the higher chakras that connects us to the very upper worlds. And as this begins to flow in through us, through our own Antakanara, that tube of light that we hold, that connects us to the highest realms of light in the center of our physical body, connected to our chakra system, moves in to clean and clear, balance and heal all blockages, disruptions, imbalances. And we see it in our spiritual eye as a flowing white river coming from the highest celestial realms of love, moving in and through our higher chakra system into the Antakamara, that tube of light, cleaning it, purifying it, making it larger and wider, able to hold more of this liquid light that moves in the undulating waveforms of unconditional love. We sense and we feel and we know we are wrapped in this sacred holy grace. And each and every holy in-breath and out-breath continues to anchor it more deeply within our sacred field. And our expansion of light cannot be contained. And those that we are with here now in this eternal now, it expands throughout the entire planet. For love and light is boundless, and our ability to hold love and light is boundless. And we choose here now to put our concentration and our focus on this divine, sacred, heavenly grace that comes from the higher world. We are first humbled and we are grateful to receive this profound blessing. And we simply take the moment to feel, sense, and know the grace that is anchored so deeply within our hearts and our minds and has created this field of love and light that we now, as divine co-creators, send out into the world. For this blessing is not just for us, but it is for the entire world and for all of her life, to our families, to our friends, to our community, to our country, to our world, our sacred world. And what we are sensing and feeling now as divine grace continues to flow in, as it raises our frequency, as we are able to receive even more with each and every breath, we expand it by our choice and share it with all. And right now, in this eternal moment, we say, Shalometh Shalom. We pray for the Shalometh Shalom. We are graced with the Shalometh Shalom, peace that surpasses all human understanding. And see here in your spiritual eye, your divine spiritual gifts from the higher worlds that are within your own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. That as you see this flowing white river coming from the highest celestial realms of light, moving in through your chakra system, moving into the crown, moving into the antakamara, into all of your chakra systems, down into the soles of your feet, and you are now connected like a root system into the very core of Mother Earth. For you now hold heaven and earth. And with this, you sense and feel the picture of the dove. It is a white dove, and that is the symbol that comes forth. It is the very movement of the divine. It is the divine Shekinah. It is the movement of God. And it moves in and through this experience through everyone. As we hold this sacred space, as the angelics and the radiant ones hold the sacred space for us as well. And it is expanded until we are in a new world, a pristine and beautiful and sacred world. We find ourselves in this moment, in this experience. And even as our physical bodies reside and hold its space, we are transcendent, out now into the higher realms of light. And this is where we do our sacred work. As we find ourselves in the higher realms of light, we look around and we find ourselves as with the ascended ones, as with the saints in this temple of peace. And we walk into this temple together, And we see its brilliance of emanating white marble and gold and platinum. It is magnificent and it is beautiful. And as we walk in, all concerns, all cares, all issues of a physical, mental, and emotional world are left behind just for this moment. And we marvel at the beauty and the peace and the harmony we feel and sense. It is totally integrated into us. We are one with it, and it is one with us. And we hold this divine, sacred energy for ourselves and our connection to our own Earth Mother and all of her life. On this ascended realm, where we find ourselves in this radiance of the temple of peace, we call forth again the Shalometh Shalom. And we will say this a few times together. Shalometh Shalom. 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 And with that, in this temple of light that holds the unshakable peace, the Shalometh Shalom that surpasses all human understanding, we see the angels of peace gather around us, and they hold us, and they have our back. And there is a great love, communion, partnership, and integration. With grateful hearts, we receive this blessing. And we stay just a few more moments, feeling this peace, this unshakable peace. And now we realize the time has come, and so we must return. And as this thought comes into our mind, we begin to draw in our electromagnetic field as all those who have participated with us draw in theirs. Slowly, we come back into our physical, mental, and emotional bodies, holding, however, the divine sacred code and imprint of the Shalometh Shalom, the peace that surpasses all human understanding, knowing that we have with us an angel of peace upon any time we call. We remember to call for divine intervention in those times that we sense we may fall into fear. For we are not alone. And those reinforcements and love that comes to buoy us, to calm us, to heal us, and to balance us are ever present and ready, even as we hold this divine energetic within ourselves. And with grateful hearts, we say thank you to all that has held this sacred space for us to receive the sacred grace of the Shalom Shalom. And we forever remember who we are and our connection to the Temple of Peace and all those radiant ones who work with us. And on the count of 3, we will intend to be back, awake and alert, knowing that we will continue to anchor this grace and blessing in the days to come. 1, 2, take a deep breath in. And 3, we are back, awake, alert, and we are anchored.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I love your meditations. They're so beautiful. I just love them. And if you want to hear more, you're going to have the anchoring light ceremony tonight.
Yes.
Tell about that. We just have a few minutes left here, hon. So
okay. So just real quick, we have an intentional anchoring light meditation. It's been going on for going 14 years now, every Monday without fail. But divine guidance has come in. We have the ability to dismantle those lower thought forms of fear and manipulation, which is what's going on right now. So I'm calling all of the family of light to come together. If you go to our Facebook page, Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light Facebook page, you'll see the information about the anchoring light tonight. It'll be at 6:45 p.m. It's on Zoom. Just click it. It's open
Eastern
to the
time.
Huh?
Eastern time.
Right, Eastern Standard Time, correct. And also, if you go to our website, which is www.ccosl.com, which stands for Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light.com. Okay, you will also see the information there to be able to participate. And if you can, let's combine our lights together so we can put peace over the situation that's currently happening in the United States and also in the world. We have the ability to dismantle or at least mitigate, okay, and lessen and empower these nefarious thought forms. Okay, we have the power. And so that's what our focus intention will be. And so the more of us that can get to do it, the more impact. And we can change timelines. We have the ability to change timelines. It doesn't have to be so drastic. If everybody woke up and found their positions, they can do this. So it's an appeal for us to do that. And if you can't, please hold this frequency of peace within yourself. And that way you can share it out with others. If you can do it, then you emanate it to others.
And you are a true example of that. I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed in this lifetime. You are a sacred sister. I'm just so blessed to know you. And I'm just, you're such a strong spiritual leader, in the community and now internationally. And, you're so devoted. And so, you just touched my heart. I'm so grateful to have you today to share this. So I love you.
Thank you so much. Too. And I'm so happy we're working together.
I know, it's so lovely. So thank you for doing this today. It was so needed. And again, we'll have you back at the appropriate hour again. So
I'd be looking forward to it.
Okay, honey. All right. We'll talk soon. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. That was Sharon Elizabeth James. She is the headmaster at the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light in Sarasota, Florida, which I am proud to be one of the ministers there. I do bring forth also the second Saturday, the Sacred Sabbath. I do bring a service there at the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light. I've been blessed to be a part of her team. Again, please make note that on Tuesday, the 26th, if you like this message today and you would like to be able to shift your vibration from fear to love and to be able to tap into the higher frequencies of your sacred self, I will be teaching the 12 tools of enlightenment from my book, Divine Union, the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So if you have any interest in joining this class, it will be Tuesday, January 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA. You can certainly contact me at Lea Chapin, CHAPIN @gmail.com, or take a look at my website, leachapin.com. We will continue these meetings every month that I have done. I've done a monthly meeting with Joshua and Mary Magdalene, and I was really excited today that after I do the Tools of Enlightenment, that I will be bringing messages from the Essenes. In October of 2018, I was very fortunate to be able to go to the Dead Sea in Jordan. And on my YouTube channel, if you Google Lea Chapin, you'll find the message from the Essenes that I did in Jordan, there at the Sea of Galilee. And I was told today that I would be bringing messages from the Essenes. So I'll be teaching those messages or bringing those messages forth shortly. So I'll be putting those on my YouTube channel, but also we'll be having a class after I do the 12 Tools of Enlightenment this month in February. I'll be working with the Essene messages. So I'm really, really, really excited about that. And so if you like this show, you can certainly donate to keep Goldylocks Productions alive and through our super chats. And so I want to thank again Tiffany Dwight for being our show producer and providing this format for all of us to share our wisdom. And again, thank you very much, Sharon Elizabeth James, for being with us today. Join the Anchoring a Light service, again on Zoom and through Facebook Live, through the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light. And so until we see each other again, have a blessed week. Remember to let your light shine so others may see. Have a blessed day, and namaste to all of you. So have a great week. So.
Become Goldylocks Productions VIP patron. Receive exclusive access to live stream special and other epic perks. Join the Goldylocks Productions VIP community today.